come back, show your
Don't miss
face.
me, they miss you. Go for it, all yours.
Oh, all right. Well, you had a good weekend?
Sure. All right. Go
I
ahead.
know you're super busy with the markets right now. Everything is popping, right?
Of course. So go ahead. It's all you, Azzy.
Okay, good morning. 17th of December, and you can say that again. You can say that 3 times, 4 times, because crypto market is booming. It's popping. I don't want to go too crazy right now, but yeah, I'm gonna get straight into it. Glad to see the market all in the green right now. I mean, we've had such a depressing time for the last week or so, but yeah, so I'll start off with the market. So guys, I'm sure you've been seeing it's been lighting up like Christmas trees. Don't worry about me. I've been laughing for the last 20 minutes. So I'm in a giggling mood. Okay. So anyway, last time I checked, it was, besides, I think it was 4 coins, 10x, Bitcoin private, status, euros, and there's something else, dex as well. I think they were in the red, but everything else in the top 100 was green. And it is slightly recovering. It's added something like $7 billion on the total market cap. We did see, if you remember, for the during the last few days, the market was threatening to drop below that 100 billion. So it's good to see it in the red, and it is one of the big in the green, excuse me, and it's one of the biggest hikes in the last few weeks, and it is something like I think it was $200 or something in the just over that, in it, just literally within minutes. So it went from 3,200 to 3,416. And apparently this is to do with a single volume spike attributed to a whale. So this is speculation, but we think that it may be a whale that sparked things off. Someone decided to do their Christmas shopping early, their crypto gifting early, or they just feel this is the time. Perhaps they feel the market has bottomed out. This is the time to make the move for them. And it wasn't just this well, but there has been reports of major movements going on from wallet to wallet. It's significant amounts of money. So that could be a signal again for some whales or some individuals or organizations that feel this may be the time to get their assets ready, their money ready, in time for anticipating what's about to happen in the next few weeks, because there are major developments happening, just like the Backed announcing that they were going to be launched at late January. And the SEC announcement at the end of February for the VanEck SolidX. And there has been some positive developments in the crypto space as well, regarding certain projects like Ripple that have added more partnerships. VeChain, I'm going to touch upon them a bit later on, but I want to speak upon the market a little bit. So yes, it has been a bit of depressing time for some people that feel, you know, they can't hack the severe drop to 3,200 to almost 3,000, but it seems to be holding firm. I know Aking will speak on the technicals later. So some people, this may be a time for them to start accumulating. Remember, different people with different strategies and portfolios, they will start to decide whether they're going to come in and buy or hold or do or sell off at some point. So we are going to see temporary bouncing. It's not just going to go on a downhill slide and not have some sort of recovery or bounce in the interim. So this is, you know, to be expected. And also, so it wasn't that much of a surprise, but yes, it has drained, especially with the festive period upon us, Christmas and the New Year. We may see some investors liquidating in order to buy gifts or to rearrange their portfolios, reposition themselves, certain assets. And so over the last 7 days, the market was down something like a quarter, about 24%. And it is the anniversary. It's now been a year since Bitcoin peaked at 20K. I don't think that has anything to do with the anniversary. I think it's just the fact that this particular or an organization, it could be a group of people, have decided to give the market a bit of a boost. And also we were expecting some sort of bounce to happen after a week-long sell-off period. So and another thing that added to the mix was, I hope I'm saying the name right, but Weiss, WEISS. You know what? There's many ways to say certain names. It's always polite to ask, but since I don't have the benefit of that, Weiss ratings say that now is the time to buy Bitcoin, in their opinion. And so for some in the crypto community, we haven't seen this sort of lows, almost $3,200, $3,000 per Bitcoin. Some people have been waiting for this moment since the long-term decline from late last year from the peak. And it's been a phenomenal ride for some people. Some people have been using it to dollar cost average. Some people have been short in the market. So depending who you speak to and what motives they have, some have been winning, some have been cutting and running and losing out just when the market's about to start getting interesting. And so that market psychology, that market sentiment is everything. And so do as they say, do as they do, not as they say. And I'll touch upon that in regards to the institutional investors and Wall Street. So, but with Martin Weiss and Weiss cryptocurrency rating, they're actually respected more so. You have all these opinions and predictions and forecasts flying about from different people with major credibility. But Martin Weiss and his research firm, they're known for their Weiss ratings for a number of years now, and investors actually do get informed with their ratings in order to purchase stocks, investing in mutual funds and ETFs. So they do have some level of credibility. And for them to come out and say, now is the time, we haven't seen these, Bitcoin is getting to such low levels that it's actually presenting buying opportunities for investors. And so and they see it as a store of value fundamentally. They do believe, in their own words, Bitcoin is here to stay. So they do think that this is the time for people for investors that are looking to make those investments long term. This may be a good time for them, and they think out of all the altcoins, all the projects out there, that it is the least volatile or the least speculative investment right now in the crypto space. So they do see what's been happening in the space, development-wise, infrastructure-wise, the type of people, type of the gravitas behind it, the money, the resources, the time, human capital put upon each investment that comes into the space. Industries now considering and having some sort of, if they haven't developed their policy, they're doing it right now as we speak regarding cryptos and blockchain. And so this is something which they feel is a good time as investors. It's time to go shopping in their opinion. And so that's interesting. I mean, we do think I mean, I certainly think that there's a little, I haven't seen the pain yet, so I think prices will continue to go down. But in terms of what's about to present itself over the next few months, developments on the horizon, I do think that we are coming to a point where we're going to have to hurt, in my opinion, hurt a little bit more, go through a little bit more despair before I feel the market will bottom out. Investors will accumulate, and then we'll see a reversal. So this latest endorsement by them, it is a very positive, very helpful. But again, I am also skeptical in terms of what institutional research analysts and advisors to Wall Street, to investors. I'll always see it with a cautious eye, because remember that adage, do as they do, not as they say. So I'm wondering why that, I mean, they could be doing it for good intentions or to drive change the market sentiment. But I do think there's a lot, in my opinion, there's a lot more further that we're going to go down before we see a reversal. So I'm happy with that new. I mean, I'm not too flustered, or I don't feel any type of way about it. I think it's good for the space, but I think it's continue to go down in the short term before it reverses. So I still think if you're dollar cost averaging, this is if you feel this is a good time right now, by all means. I do agree with the fact it is presenting an opportunity considering where our all-time high was. I do feel that right now and over the next few months, it will present itself as a buying opportunity. All depends on your portfolio, your strategy, where you have your asset allocated, what projects you believe in, and whether they have real world use cases, and the regulatory news that's going to come out, the developments that's going to come out, and so on. And I was going to mention as well, that comes on top of what we had with the US congressional actions as well, looking to place the United States at the forefront of the crypto space. So I do understand, especially with states like Ohio really pushing the argument forward on the political and the economic, using the political and economical grounds. They're certainly looking to drive that conversation forward and have legislation in place at some point, at least the beginnings of it at some point next year, and for that to help start to bring about awareness, then acceptance, then adoption. So it's good to see all these positive developments, but I do feel that price will continue to, they're going to make us suffer a little bit more before they decide it's time to start the party. So yes, here's the thing though, with the backed announcement at the launch in January, it is kind of hard to argue with the fact that if they do really go ahead and launch this time, it would be hard to argue that it wouldn't bring liquidity, that it wouldn't bring some sort of stability, and it wouldn't increase the crypto space. And that's why I feel that the infrastructure that they're building, I think it's like the laying of a foundation. It's going to get a bit messy in the very beginning, but I do think that, considering the amount, the time, the resources, the AI that they're about to bring into this, backed, I feel maybe a tipping point for some institutional investors to start dabbling, if they haven't already, with over-the-counter trading, that this may be a way for them to test the waters. And I feel that this backed, I don't feel that the arguments for it to fail or not work is strong enough. So I'm on the optimistic side for that. I do think in terms of liquidity and stability, if they do launch on time and everything goes as planned, that those thoughts, those plans will be realized. And I think that that will certainly help to improve sentiment and help to change potentially the price of Bitcoin and cryptos as well. So it's really important what they do, not what they say. So to watch what they do and to piggy bank on that. And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely see projects with real world use cases coming to the fore, especially when the market turns around, that they're going to start the arguments for them and the community around them will increase, and there will be more optimism, and I do feel that sentiments will change, and this time people will be more sober, more educated. Here's hoping that is this time that degree of caution, instead of jumping on the bandwagon, the ones that were present for the first the parabolic bull run that we saw in the most recent times last year, those that went through that journey this time will be more cautious, this time will be more logical, and will hopefully rein in their emotions and look at this practically speaking and seeing what has real value, real intrinsic value, and base it on that. So a lot of eyes on Backed and a lot of developments, I do expect some domino effects to happen as well, because I do expect other competitors to come and try and get upon the space that Backed is had planted their flag in. I do expect the competitors to make a move as well. So again, this is something where I feel it's just going to take that one or two major move by a significant group, such as the people behind Backed, with ICE, the parent of the New York Stock Exchange, Microsoft, and Starbucks. They're not here to play games. They are here to win, and they are here to create value, and they're here to get as much as they can for their shareholders and for their stakeholders. And this is something I feel is not going to be a clean process. I do anticipate some, I mean, we already seen it with the delay to January, but I do expect the market to respond positively and anticipate these price appreciation. I feel that they will make a move into that, and we hopefully will see the volumes that we saw come back as well. So I wanted to mention as well, do as they say, do as they do, not as they say. I think that's quite important, because we've seen in the traditional space how they have fooled us, average investors, retail investors, saying certain things and, implying certain things. And in the end, a few weeks later, a few months later, or that information may never come out, we end up, if we have the opportunity to find out, that they did the very opposite thing that they claim to say. So I'll give you an example. So in January this year, George Soros, you guys may know him, or he's a billionaire currency speculator and trader. And he labeled cryptos as a bubble. He recommended to investors, he advised them not to buy. And what ended up happening, Bitcoin's price dropped by over 40%. And then 3 months later, Soros' family, their office, they ended up approving an in-house crypto trading desk. So it just, that's another thing to watch out for. These financiers, these Wall Street big boys, they've been secretly, or maybe not secretly, they've been quietly putting in their blockchain patents, filing in whatever papers they need to file in, saying that they're testing this, they're piloting that, or we're just, discussing this as if it was just like, oh, we're just curious, we're trying to just see what this is about. But really in the background, they've probably got departments, they've got a team, they've got people with a lot of resources at their disposal, technology that you will not believe, especially where we are at the with artificial intelligence, with these algorithms and modeling, all these programmers, developers that they're being paying to figure out the most profitable and quickest ways they can take advantage of any market. So this is something I'm not surprised to hear that he did a U-turn. We know way back last year, late last year, with James Dimon spooking the markets. Guess what? He ended up putting blockchain patents as well. And then he also, JP Morgan employees were warned, you know, not to invest in cryptos, otherwise they were going to get fired and all sorts. And here you go. I mean, it's just no surprise at all that they're looking to move the market, influence the market one way so they can profit when it, you know, with the other side. So it's no surprise at all. And then you had Goldman as well, Goldman Sachs. They have invested in Circle. If you remember, February the 7th, Goldman Sachs had warned most cryptos will crash to zero. That ended up influencing the market, and Bitcoin's price fell by well over a quarter, 25 or 26%. And that, you know, had an influence, and they ended up investing in Circle. You know, it's crazy. And this is also with the, what do you call it, the Poloniex exchange acquisition as well, $400 million that deal was worth. And it's a perfect counterpart to Goldman Sachs' own trading desk. So is this, you know, random? Is this a coincidence? I think not. This was all planned, coordinated, and way before that, they have been watching, they have been keeping their eyes out in the blockchain and crypto space. You have people from the finance world, you know, different levels of their careers deciding to up and leave, to go to a disruptive technology, to a risky technology and space to set up their trading desk or some sort of services where they could take advantage of getting their existing clients in the traditional space and bringing them along to help guide them in their first foray into the crypto space. So this is no surprise at all. And then you had a billionaire hedge fund manager, Stephen Cohen. He's worth something like $14 billion. He bought Bitcoin when it was $6,800 or so. You had Mark, what do you call it? Mark Lazary. He's the CEO of Avenue Capital Group as well. He invested 1% of his $1.7 billion of his own fortune into Bitcoin. That's 1% of 1.7 billion. And that was when the price was around $7,500 per Bitcoin. And then Andreessen Horowitz, sorry. Andreessen Horowitz, venture capital firm. If you remember, they are super successful. They were investors in Skype, Airbnb, Coinbase. They know what to look out for. They take amazing risks to get these phenomenal rewards, and they seem to have their pulse on the finger on the pulse, and then a knack for choosing winners and knowing, you know, how to navigate any market, any waters, any industry. And they had put $300 million into a crypto fund. So do as they do, not as they say. Not financial advice. Just if you're going to follow them, if you're going to you know, look at what's really going on behind closed doors, you may not be sitting in the meetings, you may not be privy to certain information, but the biggest clue you are privy to, that we can see that they can't escape is what they do in public, because there's certain things that they have to do to comply with existing laws, and certain things that they have to do to comply with expectation of shareholders and stakeholders, and also for marketing purposes, branding purposes. They're looking to position themselves and put their competitors on notice, or others on notice. So this is something where they don't put any information in they don't put it out to public without understanding the ramifications and knowing what impact it will have on the market. So that's why I think all these players, they have deliberated, they have looked at the pros and cons, they've looked at the worst case scenario, and they're always willing to put in terms of taking risks. It's something that they can afford, and they're so used to failing companies. They've as a venture capitalist, with the way they operate, they're investing in something like 10, let's say for every 10 companies that they invest in, there's only going to be 1 or 2 that are super successful, like the Airbnb, the Uber, the Amazons, the Skypes of this world. So they already are used to failing projects and taking risks. They're not scared of that. So this is why, again, I'm not surprised to hear this at all. That they're looking to scare the market, and in the hope of influencing it in one way in order to capitalize on that, and buy the dip, or buy the accumulate at different points where they feel is going to be the most profitable for them. But anyway, they're not just standing on the sidelines, they're building, they're taking ownership. That's one, and they're helping to carve by carving their niche, they're giving a signal to the rest of the industry that they're operating, to other competitors. Hey, I'm moving, I'm taking this risk with or without you. I'm not going to play second fiddle or have a react. They're basically taking a proactive approach, and they're doing it in a way that they can always manage their risk. They've always thought of the worst case scenarios, and they're willing to take that risk because the potential upside is massive. And you have, I think, companies like 3M, that with their, I forgot the full story of a bit, but the sticky notes, the Momo notes, that was completely by accident. And that little feature, that handy invention, actually is responsible for bringing in a substantial amount of money that they've ended up changing their entire business model and their course, the course of their financial destiny that way. It was one of the stories that I read a while back, so I've forgotten the exact name, what other businesses they own, but 3M, if you look it up, the guys are makers of the sticky notes. But yeah, anything can happen in the blockchain space, in the crypto space, in regards to how businesses are looking at this. They're seeing it as a massive opportunity, but yes, it does come with risks, but they actually do not have any choice. As time goes by, if they don't have some sort of policy, if they're not prepared in any shape of way, if they're not even doing the research to see how this would fit and how they would get exploit advantages in their favor, then they're going to be left behind. It's as simple as that. You have to innovate, you have to adapt, you have to stay ahead of the trend, be the trend creator, be the trendsetter, be the trailblazer. So that mindset is what's a mark of winners and champions, having to see yourself as the only competition and really going out there and pushing the boundary, pushing the envelope. So these big boys, they don't make these sort of rewards, these sort of money without taking some sort of risk, and this is why that they're willing to place that. I mean, that I'm not too happy. I mean, I'm not surprised that they're manipulating the market and trying to influence the space in order to capitalize off lower prices. But I mean, that doesn't surprise me. The same tactics that they're using in a traditional space, they're definitely going to bring it here. They may have to adapt it because it's a brand new technology, brand new clients, brand new investors in the game, but some of the methods that they're using to in terms of using market psychology to manipulate investors, to shake out with the weaker hands, that doesn't surprise me at all. Putting out things on the mainstream media, that doesn't surprise me at all. Is to be expected. So, be aware, take these mental notes and do what you will with it. But it's really important to stay ahead of these developments regarding the announcements and filings and investments in any shape or form. It's just always good to be aware and not allow them to manipulate your emotions and influence you in that way. And that's one thing that we know for sure. Bankers' words cannot be trusted to some extent. The very people that cried bubble, they're the ones that end up manipulating and crashing for their benefit. And so we've seen this throughout traditional markets. These are global institutions and investors they're known for being experts at generating billions in profits. And, you have to ask, how are they doing it? Follow the money. How are they doing it? Forget what they say. What are they doing with their money behind closed doors? Or like, what are they actually investing in? What are they filing in terms of patents? What are they who are they trying to collaborate with? What are they going to put on? What's the money backing? So take these mental notes. They're definitely useful. And I'm sure that we're going to see more and more of this, trying to spook the markets and drive sentiment. That will continue. That's nothing new. And so, but what I do take is that this is positive either way. That they're not ignoring it, that they're not just dismissing it, they're not just staying on the sidelines and saying, because if it didn't have any value, if it didn't have any sort of promise or potential profitability or any sort of advantage, they would just ignore it. I mean, why waste their time and money and resources just just trying to figure something? In the very beginning, they couldn't even understand the technology because it's completely the opposite of what the traditional financial space stands for. So they had a hard time wrapping their minds around the idea of no middleman, and there was hardly any. In fact, there was no custody solution in the very beginning of the journey, so of a crypto journey. So what are they going to do? Are they going to just sit back and allow the retail investors to make money and just go, and not stop the reliance on the traditional service? No, they're going to do what they can to come into the space, manipulate it. They're going to find ways that they can drive the narrative and have a lot of these institutional investors and retail investors come into the space, and the people setting up in the industry, in blockchain, in starting up crypto projects. If you look at their background, a lot of them are coming in more and more, not even, especially during the bear market. They're seeing this as an opportunity, and they've got time on their hands, they've got money on their hands. So this is not something that they've just decided, I'm gonna throw away my 20, 30, 40-year career. They've got probably families to support. I'm sure they haven't made this decision lightly. They've seen the opportunity. They've they've seen the light, and they don't want to get left behind. They definitely want to speculate and make as much money as they can, but they also want to you know, if they're going to create a legacy, if they're going to, if this is something that will challenge and become a real store of value, and challenge different asset classes in terms of its ability, in terms of its liquidity and longevity, is something that they're willing to be there from the beginning, and not get left behind. They're experts at making billions of dollars, and they're going to take the risk required to make it in this space. So that's one thing I definitely pick upon. And these, you know, at the end of the day, these financial institutions, they're positioning themselves to capitalize on the progress. So market crashing, being a bear market, it doesn't bother them. It doesn't spook them at all, because largely they're the ones orchestrating it anyway. So they see this, they have a different mindset. They see this as opportunities to invest in the space, and shake out weaker hands, and you know, transfer the value from the impatient to the patient. So again, I'm seeing that there's positive signals and positive developments in the space. Everyone hasn't collected their toys and gone home. Not everyone has decided to call it quits. Not everyone has given up on their vision, on the fact that this is a true, it's going to be a true, in my opinion, that a true alternative to what we have as a status quo, where the traditional systems are. There's a real hunger, a real thirst for something new, and cutting out the middleman, and for something to be decentralized and globalized is slap bang on trend with what we've been seeing over the past decade, with other trends as well, regarding investments in new technology. This is another step ahead. We're starting to call this Web 3.0. And these are developments we will continue to see on the back of the revolutions that happened with the internet space, and so on. So yeah, I mean, it's funny because these are the same guys that a year ago had been calling Bitcoin fraudulent, a scam, and even several months onwards, some early this year they called it a scam. Middle of the year they called it a scam, and then you find out these guys have been buying, accumulating over the counter, or setting up trading desks, or filing blockchain patents. I am not gonna believe a word they say. I'll see what they do. So yeah, that's one thing I definitely wanted to mention, and expect more of these announcements to come. And next, Coinbase. Now, this is interesting. I know that Coinbase had been feeling the pressure from Binance, from other exchanges, OKX, Huobi. These guys, as you know, they've become some sort of a gateway to new investors. I'm sure. I'm not sure actually how many of you have opened a Coinbase account, or if that was indeed your very first exchange, when you were first buying your cryptos, if Coinbase was the way you got in. But for the majority of the space, for the market and investors, Coinbase has been the de facto place to go and buy your first Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, or whatever. And this is something which they decided to capitalize on this particular month, because they really wanted to start the new year with a bang. And the way they thought they'd do that is, right now, obviously, everyone thinking about Christmas shopping. We've, had Thanksgiving in November. And if you remember, at some point last year in Thanksgiving, that was actually one of the periods where Coinbase had mentioned that they had a record amount of people signing up. And they've been riding that parabolic wave, that movement last year. but even so, now with a lot of pressures coming from all sides, they've been very careful and very keen to make sure they're compliant. The regulatory side, they're making sure that whatever projects that they approve is also compliant, and they'll take it step by step. And make sure that they're not on the wrong side of the SEC and so on. Now, Coinbase started this amazing, in my opinion, it is pretty amazing if from a marketing point of view, the 12 days of Coinbase program. So, you know, you had the 12 days of Christmas. So they've capitalized on that. And each day, from the 10th to the 21st of December, they make one major announcement. So they're essentially giving their users or anyone else for that matters, is really to say thank you to the crypto community. Here's our Christmas gift to you guys. Thank you for being loyal with us, or, you know, transacting with us or whatever. So each day they present 12 major updates, and it's going good so far, and we still have more. It's not the 21st yet, and I'll speak upon that a bit later, but I do believe they're going to make one major announcement, and I'll tell you what I think it may be. Yeah, so the thing is, this time they were forced to listen to their clients, to their customers who said, hey, I want to do more with my cryptos, and also I want an easier way to be able to move in and out of my money, to exchange, you know, fiat to crypto, crypto to fiat, and these ridiculous transaction fees, they need to be cheaper. So they have been trying to you know, I say forced because it's really because they had a very comfortable space, position, being number one in terms of you know, a lot of these new investors coming in and purchasing their cryptos through them. The volume that they had, especially last year. But now you have the likes of Binance, who are absolutely killing it in the market. They're going and expanding everywhere, and they're really driving some innovations and partnerships, and the ease, the user friendliness of it, the experience that you have with Binance is really checking Coinbase. They're really putting them on notice. And so Coinbase have been, you know, scrambling this year to think of, okay, we better, you know, keep up. We need to innovate. We need to listen to our customers and not get complacent. And they've really been thinking about their long-term vision and their business model, and what's going to happen once regulations come into place as well. And I'm glad that there's more competition. That's the whole point. It's supposed to make the industry better and give more choice to the consumer. I love that about it. And so really, with Coinbase, in fact, I'm going to break it down because it's quite what do you call it? I personally like it, and it's not just because it's a holiday season. I actually like the fact that they're looking to what do you call it? Give investors more choice, and anything that makes our life easier, more convenient. Hey, I'm for it. We're for it. So with the first of their first announcement, this was back in December the 10th, they had announced that they're going to be working alongside WeGift to be able to allow American users to convert their digital currencies into e-gift cards. And you can spend that on Uber, Nike, other top brands. They mentioned something like it's a dozen brands that you can use it on. And they're going to be rolling it out in different countries throughout 2019 as well. But that is slap bang in the middle of the festive season. And I don't think that's a coincidence. They're really looking to capitalize upon that, because apparently people spend, I read somewhere that the average American spends over $700 during the festive seasons, during the holidays. $700 on average per person. You know, instead of investing it in you know, things that you can like assets, something that would appreciate. They literally invest in it on that one time Christmas gift, you know, New Year's gift, or whatever. And you know, it's crazy, but anyway, keeps the economy afloat. I guess it's great for retailers. And so anyway, this e-gift card is through WeGift, and that it was already there with the European, with Europe and the UK, and they've just simply expanded it to the US and partnering up with them. And so we've also, what do you call it? There's no extra fees. There is like something like up to 10% bonus with select vendors as well. So no withdrawal fees to move, you know, your cash to your cryptos, or your cash to to purchase the e-gift cards. And so the whole point of this is to help drive adoption, is to help them become a more appreciated, more known, to drive their brand forward. And certainly, here's the one thing that people, the community has been really keen to do, is if we're going to drive adoption, you need to make it more user friendly. You need to find a way to get the fees to reduce, and make it just make it as easy as possible for anyone with any level of education in this space. So the whole point is you want to make it smooth, seamless. You know how we have our credit cards, debit cards, loyalty cards, this card, whatever. You don't think twice when you're running your card, or you know, whatever you're doing. It's just seamless, isn't it? Or you're transferring PayPal to this, to that. It's just, you don't think about it. It happens without much, with hardly any hassle. That's the whole point. The more you open up these different options and features for us to take advantage of the values and so on, that actually does strengthen the argument that crypto space, blockchain space, is going to continue to grow and become more valuable to people. Because you need to don't just tell them, show them how this is going to actually improve your life. So that's the whole point with what Coinbase is doing. So I completely love that. I agree with that, because I do want this space to grow. I do want this space to be successful, and people to gain wealth and understanding, education in all types, in all forms, and just generally to empower ourselves. And so the fact that they can have these alternative, seamless, you know, with no withdrawal fees and so on, it's just going to make our lives easier. Who wouldn't want that, right? So it's going to enable buyers to buy more goods and services using crypto. So that's great, and it's perfectly timed for Christmas shopping. And you know, these e-gifts will serve as you know, it's not just their gift in it, but they're also you know, when you're recommending when you're giving it to someone who's not even involved in this, has no idea about Bitcoin, crypto, that's going to start off an education a process, a conversation, a dialogue, and you're going to be the person that says, hey, you know what, this is so easy, you could spend it here and there. And then they're like, what's this, what's that, is going to lead to another conversation, and there's another potential investor coming into this space. And that's essentially how we're going to help to drive adoption in this space. It's really about that engagement, that dialogue, and showing people, normal average people, investors or not, just what the advantages are coming into the space. And so that is a great time. And then on the 11th of December, they donated Zcash to help more, to support more than 50 Venezuelan families. As you may know, in Venezuela, they have a political and financial crisis there. And, you know, there is a growing number of people mining Bitcoin, and finding ways to be able to support their families using cryptocurrencies in Venezuela, to feed their families and to sustain themselves. So there's a real world use case there, and it's out of necessity. It's not even something that they're dabbling around or playing around. It's out of necessity for their survival. And so the next day, they came out with a YouTube video explaining why they think cryptos is going to create economic freedom. And then on the December the 13th, they created a new watch list feature as well. So on the dashboard, so me and you can track cryptos that we're interested in. Even the ones that are not listed on Coinbase can be added to the watch list. And then December the 14th, they came out with the big news that US Coinbase the users will be able to withdraw their funds through PayPal, and that there'll be no fees, no extra fees, completely free to do so. And that has been one of the major problems that we've had. How do you get that crypto to fiat, fiat to crypto? How can you make it seamless? How can we have this? I'm not going to get into the taxable event, the tax implications of it, but just the fact that how can we have these mechanisms where you can just seamlessly have crypto to fiat transactions without, preferably with no extra fees involved. They could find in their business models, they can find different ways, perhaps place ads or whatever it is, but those fees is one of those problems as well that puts people off. They look for other exchanges to be able to, such as what Binance is doing with their BNB coin, to be able to reduce the transaction fees. That's a unique selling point. So they've really been working on this, and now that they've partnered up with PayPal, and actually PayPal, if you remember, I forgot if it was the CEO or some other leader in one of the senior leaders in PayPal, they actually were mentioning that cryptos was a scam. And hey, presto, now we've partnered up with Coinbase. So this is why I said before, don't listen to what they say, do what they do. So yeah, they partnered up with PayPal. You could move your cash on Coinbase account, your wallet, to PayPal and vice versa. And they're fast, they're free, convenient, affordable, and they're really trying to push that. They're really trying to drive themselves as more. What can I say? The number one, if others haven't already thought of it, but the number one de facto, crypto exchange that it's like a one-stop shop. Your e-gifts, your transferring money from here to there. And here's the unique selling point they have with this. If you remember, users had to depend on their wire. They had to send it via a wire account. Excuse me. They had to wire it to a normal account and or SCH to withdraw their funds, and that can take around a few days. And if you really had a bad experience, it could be a week. But now it's just smooth, fast, and easy with PayPal on board. And all you have to do literally is link up your PayPal account, and that's going to be rolled out throughout different countries next year as well. And the whole point is that they're really staking themselves. They're trying to say, hey, we're going to be one of those people that help to foster an open financial system, which is against what is currently in the space right now. And they're trying to that crypto to fiat conversion, that bridge between two different worlds, is where they want to make their name, their money, their everything. They're staking their reputation on that. And so by differentiating themselves in this way, they're looking to sustain themselves in the future, and they expect more adoption to come into the space, and they want Coinbase to be the gateway to that. Just like it has been when we saw the parabolic rise last year with new investors coming on board. And so really, the more they can make our lives easier, the better for everyone, as far as I'm concerned. And as long, if they can work on those transaction fees and try and bring it to have innovative ways to bring it to zero and find other ways to make their money, that's something I'm definitely going to be up for. So December the 15th, they ended up making more donation. This time it was to Bitcoin donations to Syrian refugees in Greece. As you know, with the crisis that happened with Syria, there's still more migrants, and I definitely believe that around this time, this is the season for helping others, serving others, and so I'm definitely for that, even if it's a bit cheesy and seen as those that are cynical and skeptical, seeing this as a marketing ploy. I don't care if it's helping more people. I'm for it. So that's a good development and an announcement they made. And then December the 16th, excuse me, yesterday they came out with the first the announcement about the USD coin, USDC stable coin. And one thing about this is that each USD coin is backed up with a real American dollar, and it's auditable, and it can be monitored. And it is an Ethereum token, so you could use an Ethereum compatible wallet. And I do expect it to continue to be the use of it will continue to increase over the long term, especially as they're doing all these things to drive adoption, and having more and more stable coins in the market. I'm up for that, especially if they're decentralized. So that's a good alternatives to Tether. And here's what I'm thinking, like all of this is designed to increase the positive user experience. Like the user experience is at the heart of this. For us in the crypto space, in the community, in the blockchain space, we need more and more people to see it isn't as difficult as scammy or as horrible as some people may paint it out to be. And there are opportunities, there are advantages, real world use cases out there, and this is something which will it will help businesses with their competitive edge. It's going to help them stay relevant. And this is coming for Coinbase in particular, coming right on time with the holiday season, where gifts are given. And also remember, with 2019 around the corner, the focus will switch to people making New Year's resolutions and really thinking about what they want out of life, what they want for their families. And it's a fresh new start, reset, even though as cliche as it sounds, they'll be trying to get their bodies right, and you'll see gym subscriptions go up. But really with the crypto space, I'm gonna use Aking's hashtag crypto summer bodies. It is so true. We are coming at a point in time now where we're saying goodbye to this year, celebrating our success and achievements, but now the focus is on the future. In 2 weeks from now, we're going to be in 2019, and we're going to see more and more of these companies take an opportunity to bring that message forward, especially in crypto. There's a new day, a new future, that the future is extremely bright, and that those that are positioned to take advantage of it now, and do the opposite. Don't listen to what they say, do as they do the opposite of what the market wants you to do. But right now, people saying this and that, Bitcoin is a scam, it's going to go to zero, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. But look at what they're doing, look at what's about to pop. So yeah, there's 5 more announcements that Coinbase is going to do today up until the 21st. And here's what I think. If you remember, just before there was a recent, I think this was December the 7th, right? They were looking to add up to 30 new currencies, right? Cryptos onto the exchange that they're reviewing, they're looking to add up to 30 and that they're reviewing, right? And I feel that one of those 5 days, I mean, I would love it to be the final day, December the 21st, so they can go out with a bang and say, hey, we've given you all these 12 days of gifts, and now we're going to give you what you've really, 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 really been looking forward to. I think, now this is me speculating, my guess, but if they really want to give the users a proper Christmas gift, I think they're going to drop one of those coins, the 30 that they consider, one of those 30. It could be more, but I would like it, in my opinion, and I think this is what might happen. I think they're going to give Stellar or Ripple the go ahead. That's what I think. If they're going to make it a Christmas to remember, and this is only if the reviews have been finished and they think that it is legally compliant. They're not going to have problems with the SEC in the future and so on. But I do think it may be one of those coins if they're ready to publish them, if they're happy with the review and it's passed. If it's not Stellar or Ripple, I do think it's going to be one of the other projects. That's my point of view. If they really want to gift us with something great, that's what I think will happen. Just very quickly, speaking of coins, VeChain as well came out with announcement that they're working with oh, I think something's happened to my okay, I think something's happened. I don't know if you guys can still see me, but VeChain yeah, VeChain is going to be working with a leading cloud service provider in the UAE. And what was that? Sorry, there was something. It was to do with the existing client. What do you call it? To do with energy, finance, retail, and petrochem as well in the Middle East. And also Ripple is teaming up with Finable as well to launch blockchain payments by the first quarter of next year. And I think there was something else as well. Porsche as well had decided to close on $170 million loan on a blockchain platform. And that's about it. Something's happened to the, not sure if I'm still live or not, but I'm going to quickly check. I'm not sure what's happened here, but anyway, that is it from me. I'm just going to check to see. Just received the message, so bear with me for a moment. Not sure if we're having technical difficulties, or I don't know if you guys can still see me or not. I cannot see. Just bear with me, guys. I'm just going to quickly check. And I'm going to see if I can see your messages or comments as well. Let me see. Bear with me, guys. Carlos, thank you very much. Nice to hear a positive outlook, says Carlos X Burton. J. Dean, we see you, Azzy, fantastic. JJ, Zil, I can hear and see you. Yeah, cool. Okay, perfect. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and you know, it's no surprise really where we are in this space. I do expect more positive news to come out as we roll into 2019. But yeah, stay tuned, guys. Just remember, do as they do, not as they say. So thank you very much, guys. And have a fantastic week. And I will see you, I believe, on either Wednesday or Friday. But yeah, thank you, guys. Have a fantastic week. Peace out. Just bear with me, guys. Before I go, I'm just going to see. Okay. All right. It looks like that's it for now. I'm going to check your messages one more time before I go. Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys for joining me. And I seem to have lost Aking. I'm not sure where Aking is, but Okay. Well, have a great week, guys. Thank you for joining, and see ya. Peace out.